Hi everyone, how are you doing today? In this video, we'll be reviewing the Bling Bloss Palette from the Morphe Jaclyn Hill Vault. Here I'll be showing you swatches of all these beautiful shadows on my arm as well as on my lids, and I'll be talking about how they applied and what my thoughts are. I'm going to also have similar videos for all the individual palettes in this vault and then a separate video for the vault. In that video, I will talk about how these palettes compare with each other, which one I would recommend if you want to buy just a single palette, and what my thoughts are on the vault as a whole. If you're interested in any of those videos, if they're out already, they'll be linked here on the screen and in the description box below. But if they're not out already, make sure you're subscribed and hit the little notification bell so whenever they go out, you will be notified of those videos. Alright, so let's get into this palette. First of all these palettes have 60 grams of product, and they look pretty similar except that there are these little mini dots that kind of tell you what's the main theme inside, and on the side it says the name of the palette in the color of the theme. This particular one is of course purple and was the first one that my eyes drew to besides the warm palettes, but because I have so many warm palettes, if I were to buy only one palette initially, I thought that this would be the one. So of course that is why this is the first one that is being reviewed. By the way, I have created this look using the shadows from this palette. The demonstration of this look will be included in the whole vault review. For now, let's get into the swatches. I will be using these two Eco Tools brushes with a fluffy end and a smudger end to do these swatches. And then I'll be using my clean sweep tube from Marshalls to clean them out in between. Just like my normal eyeshadow reviews, I'm not wearing any eyeshadow primer here, and the very first shade, Bling Bling, is kind of a cool toned, almost beigey pink. It's pretty chunky and glittery. It is very sheer, but it can be built up to a medium opacity. In the end, I'll show you how it looks layered over the other shades in this palette. Hush Hush is a beautiful cool tone setting shade, and I'm surprised it does not make me look tired. I actually ended up wearing this shade all over my lid before adding any of the other swatch shadows after Pizzazz to just take away any possible wetness from wiping my lids. I do like this shade. I think it's a nice shade that is included in here. Gem, according to me, is the best shade and the shade that I was most interested in the entire vault. It applies very easily with a shader brush. You can apply it sheer or build it up to a full opacity. Pizzazz again is a great quality shadow, just like Gem. It applies very nicely, and I can't wait to see how it'll look mixed with Gem. Actually, on my lids today, I applied Pizzazz, and on top of that, I have applied Ballsy just to kind of warm up Ballsy a little bit. Mystic, as I said before, now I have Hush Hush all over my lids before starting out any other shadows. Mystic is a very nice deep shade. It blends very easily, but you will definitely need a good primer if you want to apply it all over the lid, because as you can see, it was getting slightly patchy for me at the very center of my eye, and as I was blending it more, it was kind of not sticking to the center of my lid, and I think that was because of the lack of eye primer. Sparks is a very nice, slightly cooler toned red. It applies nicely, blends nicely. I really have no complaints about Sparks. By the way, I should add that it took some serious efforts and wiping for me to take Mystic and Sparks off of my lids. If you are light skinned, I think these might end up staining your lids slightly. Glitz and Glam is another sparkly sheer shade. This one is slightly warmer than Bling Bling. Again, it is pretty sheer, as I said. I did get a little bit of fallout with this shade, but nothing major. And I'll show you how this looks layered over Mystic a little bit later. Rockstar is a beautiful bright purple. It applied and blended nicely with a fluffy brush. However, as you'll see later, when I tried to layer Ballsy on top of it, it kind of got wiped away. But again, my lids are bare here. I don't have any eye primer on. These shades are a little bit powdery and there is a little bit of fallout. However, I don't see any fallout here on my face. Ballsy is kind of a duochrome, I can say. It's a cool toned purple to golden shimmer, and I feel like it has a little bit finer texture than Bling Bling or Glitz and Glam. It applied very nicely all over the lid, just applied dry, but I had trouble getting it to show up as it is doing here on top of a darker shade. Buried Treasure. This is an amazing black shadow with beautiful purple and golden glitter in it. When you swatch it with your finger, it looks amazing, but when I tried to apply it dry, the shimmers just weren't showing up. I didn't see any major fallout on my cheeks, so I don't know where those shimmers went. But when I applied it with just a little bit of setting spray, oh, it's beautiful. I think it'll perform even better when you have some lid primer on. And now here is the layering. This is Bling Bling on top of Gem, and then Bling Bling on top of Sparks. I think it looks very nice. Okay, now here is Glitzy and Glam on top of Mystic, and as you can see, I felt like the effect was not as vibrant. I felt like the effect was weaker than the effect I was getting with Bling Bling layered on top of other matte shadows. And finally, this is Ballsy on top of Rockstar. Ballsy just seemed to take Rockstar off. It wasn't even showing up as a shimmer until a few coats later, and I was actually very disappointed with this. I was again going for the layered look that I created with my Manny MUA palette, but yeah, I wasn't able to get it with these shadows. Alright, so my overall thoughts are that I like the color selection that is available in this palette. I feel like it's pretty complete with a setting shade and then with two dark shades and kind of a warmer shade, even though this is a pretty cool toned palette. The red itself is cool toned for a red, but I feel like it's a good shadow to have for people like me who have a warmer skin tone, and if I go just pure cool tone, it doesn't look good. It looks kind of off. So I'm very happy to have Sparks in here. You get a variety of textures. Bling Bling and Glitz and Glam are pretty chunky shimmers. Gem, Pizzazz, Ballsy, and Buried Treasures are finer shimmers. Well, Buried Treasures is more of like a matte with shimmer in it. I am very happy with Gem. It looks beautiful when you spray it with a little bit of setting spray. It applied beautifully on its own as well, but I think setting spray kind of does a trick for it. It looks really pretty when you have the setting spray on. Bling Bling and Glitz and Glam looked very nice on their own. So did Ballsy. However, I was kind of disappointed that I wasn't able to create these shimmers layer over mattes look with this palette. The mattes in general, I think, are a little bit disappointing, to be honest. I felt like the mattes were either blending away or they were kind of muddying up a little bit for me. So those things I have to take away points for. Overall, you get 16 grams of product in this palette. It retails for $15 individually, or the entire vault is $49 where you get 4 of these palettes. So price point wise, it's not bad. But I'm at a point where I don't like to judge a palette based on its price point, because I feel that if a product is bad, no matter how less money I paid for it, if I'm not going to use it, that's money wasted, so it's always bad. Overall, I'll give it a 3.5 out of 5 stars if I have to compare it to the original Jaclyn Hill Morphe palette. I think that one is really amazing. This one did have some shortcomings. But I hope you guys enjoyed all the swatches. If you want to know how the other palettes perform or what my thoughts are on the entire vault, then make sure you're subscribed. Hit the notification bell. If these videos are out already, they will be linked in the description box. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!
All right.